You watch it, Franklin, you would be something much worse. It is, I assure you. Your values and decency are present, yet shocked. This cannibal... The mongoose I went under the house when the snakes... peeking behind the curtain. You don't know me, and I suspect we'll never meet. This is a courtesy call. Listen very carefully. Are you listening? They know. Weary head to rest knowing he didn't break you, and I'll come say, what you need is a way out of dark places when Jack sends you there. Yes. I fantasized about scenarios where my actions may have allowed a different fate for Abigail. Yeah. Oh, he'll have one of us ask. It's whatever you need it to be. The mirrors in your mind can reflect the best of yourself. It's stress, not worth reporting. Is it harder imagining the threat?
Mind?
Pork.
Wonderful. My wife and I both work, and as hard as I tried, lovely. No.
To help you leave home behind.
What makes you say that?
You would honor every part of them. It was to make strike long before you got.
Show me what happened. And they'll see you as an accessory to the crimes of your father. Hello, Abby. You climbed over the wall. Come down from there. Tell me, Will. I suspect that fruit is on a high branch. Yes.
More than 2 years.
Served with a sauce of success.
Is it possible you inadvertently plant?
But he seems to have come to that awareness all by... I am a source of stability and clarity, Franklin. I'm not your... I'm honest. Do you refer to me as person suit with your psychiatrist friends? This is your... I'm curious about something. Are you... Not on my account, I hope. Before we begin, you must all be warned. Nothing here is vegetarian. Bon appetit.
I Googled psychopaths, went down the checklist.
Nice to see you again.
Is it Tobias?
Yes.
Your strings are all got. Was it an original composition?
It's something I've been writing.
What? No, just changing the subject.
Yep. Then I would disappear.
Don't kill Franklin.
I've been looking forward to it.
I'm lean. Lean animals yield the toughest gut.
So a lonely road to a bus yard.
You're reckless, Tobias.
So my recklessness doesn't concern you?
It concerns me because you won't be drawing attention just to you. And you would resent her for it. You kissed him. And felt compelled to drive an hour in the snow to tell me about it. You waited a long time, which suggests you were kissing her for a reason, in addition to wanting to.
Broke through the wall to get it out. Lana.
What did you know, Will? Perhaps you should interview him.
Tobias Budge.
The disorder. What you feel is overwhelming you.
I know.
Well, Jack Crawford gave you a chance to quit and you didn't take it. Why? When faced with this killer's achievements, your mind needed to escape, and you lost time. What if you lose time and hurt yourself? Or someone else? You can't be a comfort to see the broken, bloated corpse of a monster. Were you? You betrayed my trust. You jeopardized my life as well as your own. I deserve more than that. I helped her dispose of the body. Why not? Nicholas Boyle attacked us. Abigail's only crime was to defend herself, and I lied about it. We are her fathers now. We have to serve her better than Gary Jacob Hobbs. Do I need to call my lawyer, Will?
Everyone decides their own versions of the truth.
You're grieving, Will. Not for the life you have taken, but for the life that was taken from you. Farther behind, so could have you. You could untangle yourself from the madness and the murder. We both know the unreality of taking a life. But light and air and color. Have you experienced any further loss of time or hallucinations? An exercise. And think of where you are and when. A simple reminder. I know you're alive. Will has a remarkably vivid imagination. Beautiful. Pure empathy. Nothing he can't understand, and that terrifies him. I can tell you where to find her. I'm worried about Alana.
They will be so...
Jack, I would recommend you suspend his license to carry firearms. I know who Will is, but our experiences shape us, Jack. And side effects can be temporary. They can be a boost to our psychological immune systems to help fight the existential crisis of normal life. No, he doesn't.
What does he present you with?
The opportunity for friendship.
He is still your patient, Hannibal.
Just watch him lose his mind. Fevers can be symptoms of dementia. That this could be more than a fever, no. I haven't told him. What we must do now is continue to support and monitor your recovery. How's her recovery?
Afraid to remember what she did.
Can't say I blame her. I'm protecting Will from influence. He has flaws in his intuitive beliefs about what makes him who he is. I'm trying to help him understand. I'm so sorry, Jack. I was hoping. I wanted to see how much like your father you were. Seems hard to find words today. Despite the overwhelming evidence, I find myself searching for ways that Abigail could still be alive.
Grieving is clearly Abigail Hobbs's life has, and you seem surprised by that.
I never considered having a child. But after meeting Abigail, I understood the appeal. The opportunity to guide and support and in many ways direct a life. I think of my earliest memory and project forward to what I imagine will be my death. Those who denounce veal often cite the young age at which the animals are killed, when they are in fact older than many pigs going to slaughter. Hello, Will.
According to Will Graham, this was all you.
Will was your bloodhound. You can't ignore it. I miss him. There's an honesty in that I admire.
I imagine there's an honesty in that you can relate to.
Dr. Lecter.
Friendship can sometimes involve a breach of individual separateness. I imagine it's easier to believe I'm responsible for those murders than it is to accept that you are. Your inner voice can provide a method of taking control of your behavior. Accepting responsibility for what you've done. I have huge faith in you, Will. I always have. And why?
This is the fourth body we've recovered so far.
How long have they been here?
Hard to say, but someone went through a lot. Whatever he's doing, he's still figuring out how to do it.
Were they injected with silicone? Technique for making resin-coated models out of fish. I got to be Will Graham today. I stood in Will's shoes, looked through his eyes, and I saw death. How I imagined he would see it. And being as open and honest as I know how. You're not just lying for me.
Was visiting with your former patient today.
Will was never my patient.
The irony is that he is my patient.
Was he successful?
Only in playing Dr. Bloom. It's sad to see a brilliant psychiatrist.
She wants to believe him. I do too.
Of course, but with everyone else who'll listen.
Well, in that case, you are dining with a psychopathic murderer, Frederick.
I don't know who. And
And you can't trust me. Let me help you. May I ask why?
Person suit that you wear.
Craquelure. It's French. A life lived, a cruise in the cracks.
Tone.
I can only assume you didn't find it. If you do, remember, will be a distortion of reality, not the truth of events. Beverly Katz has come to see you. Wouldn't want Alana Bloom to worry about you dwelling on anything morbid in what's to be a time of recovery. It seems you have an admirer. The boundaries of what's considered normal are getting narrower. Outside those boundaries, this may be intended as a helpful gesture. It hadn't occurred to me to send you in here. But I'm grateful someone has. So can doubt. I have new thoughts about who you are. There may very well be another killer. Some part of you still suspects me.
I don't know what anyone is.
There never was. And you may not be guilty. This ear you were saying, if someone else is responsible for your crimes, perhaps he now wants to be seen. He cares what happens to you. I wanted to dispel your doubts once and for all. This killer wrote you a poem. Are you going to let his love go to waste? I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. I was asked by Jack Crawford to monitor Will. I was never officially his psychiatrist. I was meant to be his stability. I failed him in that.
How did you fail him?
I was unable to determine if Will's condition was due to mental illness or stress from his work at the FBI. My mistake was never considering his innocence. I've been asked to consult on the case by Jack Crawford. He wanted a profile of the bailiff's killer. Will rightfully couldn't accept these actions to be his. A mind faced with the possibility of committing such deeds will find an alternative reality to believe in. Will Graham is and will always be my friend.
Dr. Lecter, what was the...
A bullet to the heart.
And in Will, their cause of death?
Mutilation. When you're gone, he will feel your silence like a draft. I've always found the idea of death comforting. The thought that my life could end at any moment frees me to fully appreciate the beauty and art and offer the rooster to the god of healing, Asclepius, to pay his debt. So often you open your mouth and I hear Will Graham's words come out.
Well, he's agreed to consult with me on cases.
I'm happy to hear that. I believe there is a possibility. At least not to me. A signature. I want you to draw a clock for me. The dissonance might foster a change in mind. There's something wrong.
Will is at...
A gift. Coq gloire. What have you taken, Bella? Yes. Goodbye, Bella.
She wanted to die.
It wasn't what I could do for Bella, it was what I couldn't do to you, Jack. Guess I'm a better friend than therapist.
Usable evidence. What she found is already gone.
And shame at his betrayal. Exactly this situation. You could kick it out right now yourself and it would all be over.
I'm not of care. Well, Graham is not what you think. He's not a murderer. He asked you to do this?
Now I'm gonna ask you a few yes or no questions while you still have enough blood coursing through your brain. I don't know what the answer is.
I know why. Life is precious.
You know, the Iroquois used to eat their enemies to take their strength.
Only if you eat me. You are as angry with yourself as you are with whoever murdered her. You tried to kill me, Will. It's hard not to take that personally. However, if I were Beverly's murderer, I'd applaud your effort. I think you are more in control now than you have ever been. You found a way to hurt me. I wonder how many more people are going to get hurt by what you do.
Gideon is nowhere to be found.
He escaped. You come from clay, return to clay. Shall I carve? This is a far more practical.
Rare to get it, hard to keep it.
But to be wasted. Too long in the bottle.
I'd like to pick up where we left off. If memory serves,
You've given that some thought.
you wanted me to embrace my nature, Dr. R.
You never answered my question. How would killing me make you feel? Why you? Why Miriam Lass? What does the Chesapeake Ripper want with you?
You made sure no one could find you that way again.
If I'm not the Ripper, you murder an innocent man. If I am the Ripper and you kill me, who will answer your questions? One moment, please.
So she could take her own back.
How will you take your life back? Trials of his wild existence find their way into the flavor of the flesh.
None of our act.
Isn't it? Doing bad things to bad people makes us feel good. Are you going to try again?
If I'm planning to commit a murder,
I'm ethically obliged to take action to prevent that murder. Be that as it may, if there's no one else to protect you, Margot, you have to It would actually have been more therapeutic if you had killed him. An abnormal reaction to an abnormal situation is normal behavior. My knowledge and intrusion, I could never. Must I denounce myself as a monster, while you still refuse to see the one growing inside you? Why not appeal to my better nature? One can be fully aware of another human being unless we love them. By that love, we see potential in our beloved. Expressing that love, our beloved's potential comes true.
Here it is.
I visited Granada when I was a young man. I remember my time there so vividly, like I frescoed the walls of my mind. It's immortality, but forgetfulness promotes a healthy mind. It's good to forget. What are you trying to forget, Jack? About me? I can no longer discuss Will's state of mind with you, or anyone else without his consent. So it's not pulling the trigger that you regret. It's not pulling it effectively. You must adapt your behavior to avoid feeling the same way again, Will. Yes. I want you to close your eyes.
To feel like...
And what does that feel like? Good. Remember that feeling. The tendency to see others as less human than ourselves is universal.
She knew there were others like me.
Fascinating. No? I think about God. I collect church collapses. Did you see the recent one in Sicily? Was that evil? Was that God? Typhoid and swans, it all comes from the same place. Perhaps you should have a more personal conversation with Mr. Tier. Consider it an act of reciprocity. I had a sister.
Then you understand my need to protect.
Please. But I must insist on selecting my own peg. Always do.
Knocks. She sees something no one else.
Fanny Lance must consider you a bland interview subject if she's already resorted to fiction. Crossing boundaries is different than violating them.
Where we are with each other?
Better the devil you know. Veal? Pork wraps. I'll make you lomo saltado. You slice the ginger. The meat has an interesting flavor. It's bracing. Notes of citrus. Apart from humane considerations, it's more flavorful for animals to be stress-free prior to slaughter. This animal tastes frightened. It's acidic. This meat is not pork. Then you can't say that I'm evil. Evil is just destructive. Storms are evil, if it's that simple. Underwriters lump it all under acts of God. Is this meal an act of God? Well, it is then roasted and consumed whole in a single mouthful. Who amongst us is not? Traditionally, during this meal, we are to place shrouds over our heads, hiding our faces from God. I don't hide from God. A stimulating reminder of our power over life and death. Tell me, did your heart race when you murdered her? Your design is evolving. Your choices affect the physical structures of your brain. Yes. You must understand that blood and breath are only elements undergoing change to fuel your radiance. Just as the source of light is burning. conspired with your unborn child to liberate yourself. You've made Will an unknowing accomplice. I was aware of Margot's goal of having a child. I was not aware you were the means to achieving it. A boy's illusions are no basis for a man's life, Mason. Margot's the only family you have left. Virtues are noted expansionists. Unless biology provides another. What sort of father would you be? I was to my sister. She was not my child, but she was my charge. She taught me so much about myself. Her name was Misha. She's dead. Abigail reminded me so much of her. What happened to Abigail had to happen. There was no other way. Would you protect this child the way you couldn't protect Abigail? I'm sorry. I took that from you. Wish I could give it back. I drop a teacup to shatter on the floor. On purpose. I'm not satisfied when it doesn't gather itself up again. Someday, perhaps, a cup will come together. As many as were necessary. Maybe more. But then, how much has God sacrificed? I've not been bothered by any considerations of deity, other than to recognize how my own modest actions pale beside those of God. Your prayer did not go entirely unanswered. You saw part of her. Should the universe contract? Should time reverse and teacups come together? A place could be made for Abigail in your world. You've lost a child, Will. It seems you're likely to gain one.
All those were...
Part of a show pic's consideration is its happiness. What about Margot's happiness? You miscalculated. Struck a nerve. She tried to kill you once already.
To a man...
Neither did you.
I can be resourceful, too.
This child would be a virgin. You would have an heir to carry on the family name. I have an understanding of your state of mind. You understand mine. We're just alike. This gives you the capacity to deceive me. And be deceived by me.
What you do about it is entirely up to you.
You put the snare around my neck. Why did you tell Mason Virtue I want to kill him?
It's true, isn't it? Or you want me to kill him. Either way, you'd like him dead.
Mason is discourteous. And discourtesy is unspeakably ugly to me. Whenever feasible, one should always try to eat the root. Would you join me at the table? He may be intending to kill me during our next session. You said you were curious what would happen. I want you to close your eyes, Will. Imagine what you would like to happen. What did you see?
Shall we talk about chicken? Are you and the sperm donor? I play chicken with Margot all the time. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Well, that's exactly what he wanted.
Make you human, Margot. So much as give you the ability to make yourself human and move on.
Hannibal has a...
It provides a three-dimensional canvas in which one may stage a scene. You're a Sardinian. You're a professional revenger as well, I suspect. Take it, man. Have arrived your psychedelic compounds. Soon aims into good form, mind you. Patients rhapsodize about the life-changing insights they achieve. They truly recall you are a you. Nothing. Cacophony of sights, sounds, smells. Stockyards and slaughterhouses. Show me how Pablo would check the depth of a pig's fat. No, Mason? Show me on you. What Mason is experiencing is restricted. Reality has to be forced to adapt. Then there is no murder. We make murder too. You know too well you possess all the elements to make murder. Perhaps mercy too, but murder you understand uncomfortably well. Yet Patroclus seems to be defined by his empathy.
Died from there wearing his armor.
He did. Hiding and revealing identity is a constant theme throughout the Greek epics. Give him the Chesapeake Ripper.
You taunted him for long enough.
Jack has become my friend. I suppose I owe him the truth. It holds among its molecules the vibrations of all our conversations ever held in its presence. The grunts and poetry of life. Listen. What do you hear? The orchestrations of carbon. You and me. And Jack. All our destinies flying and swimming in blood and emptiness. But not to help. When you hear Jack scream, why will you come running? When the moment comes. Love and death are the great hinges on which all human sympathies turn. What we do for ourselves dies with us. What we do for others lives beyond us.
You saved me for Jack.
My palace is vast. Even by medieval standards. Monic system. I will live there.
It's a flying insect.
It's the last stage of a transformation. An imago is an image of a loved one, buried in the unconscious. carried with us all our lives. I have a concept of you, just as you have a concept of me. Both of us are too curious about too many things for any ideals. Is it ideal that Jack die? Almost polite. Of this life, I don't need a sacrifice. Do you? In the pantry. I was hoping you and I wouldn't have to say goodbye. Nothing seen, no said. You may have found that rude. And you had freedom then. You would take that from me. Confine me to a prison cell.
Blink if you agree.
Bonsoir. 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 Envolta in un trappo dormento. I'm happy to sing from a supper. We're among the palaces built 600 years ago. A simple process requiring a few seconds' work on the old man. And a modest outlay for 2 bags of cement. Ethics become aesthetics. One contentious Florentine can. And blinded for betraying his emperor's trusts.
Hannibal.
It was nice. Among other things. He knew where to look for me. He said he forgave me.
Forgiveness is too great and difficult for one person. It requires 2.
I'm vague on those details. You cannot control with respect to whom you fall in love. Someplace I can never go. Home. Professor Soliato. I can only claim one. Technically. I always oversee this process personally.
Ability to control or predict.
Or negotiate.
I would suggest what Will Graham makes you feel is not dissimilar.
Love. He pays you a visit or he doesn't. The god betrayal. Who presupposes the god forgiveness? Misha didn't betray me. She influenced me to betray myself, but I forgave her that influence.
There is only one way you will forgive Will Graham.
I have to eat him.
Yes?
Questa è la differenza.
Never met him. Read several of his monographs. The going assumption is he eloped with a woman and her money.
He declined your invitation to dinner.
Like any good investigator, I'm sure you're sifting the circumstances for profit. I think you're a patsy of the patsy. Am I correct? You resemble a figure di della Robbia Rundles in your family's chapel at Santa Croce. Music arrives like experience, sudden and entire. In my youth, we shared a fondness for Botticelli and crossed paths in the Uffizi Gallery beneath La Primavera. When I looked into his face and stood close enough to smell him, I was well aware that all the elements of epiphany were present. He must wait and lurk and think. It's too soon to flush his quarry. He's deciding what to do. As an early warning system, my bounty is better than radar. Forsake that duty and scramble after me privately.
Given the nature of your
Hello, Jack. Did you get my note? I'm truly sorry about Bella. For her, night and day must have been very much the same in the end. When she could no longer stir or speak. I imagine you were capable of giving any medication Bella may have needed in the night. Injections on an orange, Jack. What medication did you give her in the end? Was it too much? How will you feel when I'm gone? Florence is where I became a man. I see my end in my beginning.
I knew that you...
Where does the difference between the past and the future come from?
Abigail. Gio. Whether either of us can survive separation.
Give that a moment. You were to be the guest of our... Stop!
Don't imagine you were here to make an arrest.
Something worth maintaining. You are the best of all that I've seen. Snatched Will Graham.
You're going to...
Sizzling on a Promethean barbecue. You've thought of everything.
Feed you to the pigs as soon as Cordella.
Simple and clean. And delicious.
Have they told you the drill? Once you're dead?
Thank you for coming, Margot. Eating the chocolate, as Mason likes to say. After you fought him for so long. You tell me.
Something that he stole.
Mason will deny you. He will always deny you. You know you'll have to kill him. No, of course not. But you could trust me never to deny that I did it. It would actually be more therapeutic for you to kill him yourself. What difference would one more murder charge make to me? I'm the only other suspect you've got. Gloating about how much I enjoyed killing him myself. He has a pocket knife.
I was trying to save.
I promise. And I always keep my promises, Alana. Ropes on one arm. Give me the knife and leave. I can do the rest. Yes. But I did not kill her. Between iron and silver. Did we talk about teacups and time and the rules of disorder? Not even in your mind. Your memory palace is building. It's full of new things. I've discovered you there, victorious. We are a zero-sum game.
I don't want to know.
You delight in wickedness and then berate yourself for the delight.
I don't have your appetite.
I'm here. finally caught the Chesapeake Ripper, Jack. I want you to know exactly where I am. Where you can almost find me.
Coffin.
Just itching at you in your daily rounds of institutional life. There's no consensus in the psychiatric community what I should be termed. Do you still prefer beer to wine? Who? Lest we forget Mason Virtue. You're welcome.
Plea.
I'm not insane.
You know that, and I know that. Enough people have died.
You haven't. I always keep my promises. Traditionally made with pig's blood in this case, and the blood was from a cow, only in the derogatory sense.
But I promised myself I would never use colons in my titles.
You'll have to write another book.
I am.
What is the subject of your new book, Frederick?
I find folks are a bit more interested in him.
More of a shy boy, this one. I think he doesn't like being called a tooth fairy.
You, with your fancy illusions. You might say he's a 4-quadrant killer.
Oh, well. Are you a good father, Will? What were the yards like? Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Denise.
Are you ready for your call?
Yes, please.
You've reached the office. Operator?
Operator, I don't have the use of my hands. Could you please ring 667 JL5 0102?
Of course. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Dr. Frederick Chilton's office.
Is this Linda?
Linda doesn't come in on weekends.
Maybe you could help me if you don't mind. This is Bob Dreer at Blaine and Edwards Publishing. Dr. Chilton asked me to send a copy of his book to someone, and Linda was supposed to give me the address and phone number, but she never did.
She'll be in on Monday.
I have to catch Federal Express in about 5 minutes, and I don't want to bother Frederick at home. It's right there in his contacts. I'll dance at your wedding, if you read it to me.
I'm opening the file.
I'll be a darling and slide the cursor down to the letter G. Give it a click and I'll be out of your hair.
All right. What was the name?
Graham. Will Graham. And behold, a great red dragon. Are you familiar with William Blake? Blake's dragon stands over a pleading woman caught in the coil of its tail. Few images in Western art radiate such a unique and nightmarish charge of demonic sexuality.
Because something in them spoke to him.
The Jacobys were the first to help him. The first to lift him into the glory of his becoming. As the dragon grows in strength and glory, there are families to come. Otherwise, you have to enter more houses and see what the dragon has left for you. 11 days to the next full moon. Tick, tock. This dragon will. I don't think he's crazy at all. It didn't hold up to scrutiny.
Of course it... To save your life! I went out on a limb for you.
Wood burns because it has the proper stuff in it. And a man becomes famous because you don't have the proper stuff, Frederick.
The journals only... The attention given to you is dwindling.
It has a habit of not letting us choose our own endings, Frederick.
After Dr. Bloom's reign, you will be out in the ward. The young ones will push you around and use you for sex. All you'll get to read is what you read on the wall. Of my book, right over here.
Thank you, Frederick. Hand delivered. You pretended to burn Freddie Lowndes in a wheelchair to flush me out. What were you pretending to do with Frederick Chilton? Congratulations. Would have been your lip I was tasting. Again. You orchestrated his end, Alana. You saw the hole and let him roll right into it. That's professional discourtesy. Dragon. Was it surprising when you heard from him? A man and to lay down his life for a friend.
I'm so happy you chose life, Francis. You were seized by a fantasy world